Welcome back to the second episode of SuperChill the PodCast. This we're coming to you live from State Trumot. This is Harry Rosenberg, Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, PASHUT, or Shmuel Zacharias Menachem Mendel Mexico and Herenstein. Got, two names. There are 7 names, different personalities. We steiging here, we going up. We're coming from State Trumot, the place where big things happen, a lot of big steps in the history of mental health took place here, the history of Jewish history, Torah, and so this is Harry's land, and
our land.
This is our land, and we steigen here, and we're we're just trying to build it up, and hopefully when Harry comes up, we'll hit you guys with an episode of SuperChill the podcast, and we're gonna discuss some ideas of the SuperChill.
A lot of ideas to discuss.
Yes, this is true. So Harry, I wanted to ask you, we saw in Daf Yomi, the beginning of Brachos, the beginning of the Sugya of Brachos, we see a lot of talk about that really that's just a chumrah. Really, you could do it until Chatzos. It's just you should do it. Really, you could do it until Elos HaShachar. Just you should do it. Chatzos. The rabbi did it. You should be machmir, right?
Right. So they're like, guys, you can only say prayer until a certain time. But it's really, it's till 5 or 6 hours later, maybe. So why are you going to come up and start telling me that this is the time when really there's a later time? Just let me know that there's a later time and make a recommendation to knock it out beforehand.
Exactly.
I want some transparency. I need some full disclosure right
Exactly.
here.
And we saw that the bana of the children of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, it was the wedding of Yeshua ben Levi's son, and they had the other kids of this rabbi. I don't remember exactly who it was. And they were at this party, this wedding, and they got mad drunk, and then they said, "Yo, Rabbi Shimon Levi, we can't even daven anymore." And and he said, "No, they just told." Sometimes the chumras,
No, it's also with parents and kids. If a kid says his parent he wants something, the parent, it's when I was little. It's I wanted to flip my eyelids inside out because the cool kids are doing it. My parents no, don't do that. It'll get stuck like that forever. So it's I don't know if that's really what's going to happen, but that's what they said to get me not to do it.
Right.
So it's later on, kids who aren't really told what's real, they find out elsewhere, then they rebel and then they lose ne'emanut, they lose trust in the source. So we always want to have open source, but clearly the Rabbanan are smart and they function with Das Torah, they function with the wisdom of the Torah. So there must have been a reason that we could trust them, that there's a reason they said, stop at Chatzot, not Alot HaShachar.
Right. They had good intentions. The intentions were to laharchik adam min avera. At the end of the day, that's making these kids at the wedding that are getting drunk. Very interesting that both here and in the Mishnah and in Daf Tes, Amabez or something. I don't know. On the Gemara, and they say that they're going and they're getting drunk and receive this inyan of partying. That's part of the Torah life. And they took it into consideration in halacha. The first Gemara, the first Mishnah we hear is about people getting too drunk to keep halacha.
Listen, if you go to these, you think of an Orthodox Jew, a Hasidic Jew, you think of some serious angry guy, and maybe there are some serious angry guys there. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when you go to one of their festivities, a wedding or something, these guys are holding hands and dancing in circles, chanting. You wouldn't know if there's a difference between them and some Native American tribes doing the same exact thing. So there is an element that was passed down, in our Jewish tribedom, that we actually have raging parties. And that's what we do to make things holy.
Yeah.
It's it's a holiday. What do we do? Well, let's drink, hold hands, and dance.
Yeah, let's party.
So it's that's just what we do.
Yeah, for sure. And about the, you have Chava.
The original Chava?
Yeah,
Eve?
Eve. Adam told Eve, yo, don't even touch the tree. The snake pushed, according to the Medrash, she touched the tree. She's now that you touched it, nothing happened. So you gotta be careful.
Wow. You're bringing in, this is the best connection here, is the Maisa Bereshit, the story of the creation of don't tell me not to touch the tree if really it's on eating the apple.
Right.
So we're saying, don't tell me chatzot if it's really Shachar.
We gotta know people.
Whew, that's deep. That was a great. That's like it's like there's the Achronim, then there's the Rishonim, then there's like the PASHUT. It's like the PASHUT shot. You know, what's PASHUT shot over here?
What's PASHUT shot? Well, actually, what I really don't know PASHUT shot is the Gemara we actually seen together before, in our illustrious career as chavrusas, back in Jiggity Jeru. So we saw the Gemara of God getting mad, and we saw it again in this week's Daf Yomi. That God loses his chill, he loses his cool for a second.
Yeah, but how long was that second?
Oh, it was even like a split.
The Gemara says God gets angry. I don't know what the lashon or what the language is. He gets angry
for a second we see by
split second.
So how can we understand that God gets mad? You know, God's supposed to be perfect. How could perfection get mad? Because what is mad is not going the way I want it, or it's like God gets.
Yeah, you know what? Some of this stuff my rabbi taught me is north of the border and south of the border, and once you start talking about God and His attributes, you're north of the border. Because we were built in a dimension that was not designed to comprehend God.
True, but God gave us Torah in order to understand, and He gave us the world in order
Torah,
to understand.
Right.
And says the Rambam in the beginning of Hilchos Deos, he says the way to get to the Yedias Hashem is by understanding Torah and understanding science. And so if there's something in the Torah, then we could definitely ask a question on it and say,
yes, we should ask.
So yeah, we should ask it. So I maybe
the
have
gematria of Adam, human, is ma. I was like, what? It's like
nice.
We are human by saying what?
Nice.
We have to ask.
We gotta ask, you know. So we could say like maybe a svara. Like when we say God gets mad, God's not getting God. The Avishter, the Hashem qua shlemas, right? We're chelik Eloha qua hishtalmas, right? Ayin Rav Aaron Sham. We're saying that God gets mad. The shlemas doesn't get mad from something. He gets mad because He's teaching us. Like even when God gets mad, boom, it's a second.
He snaps out of it, so we should learn from that.
Yeah.
By the way, just a little footnote. When I was younger, I used to say to like my parents or something like, "Oh, I'm really mad," or "That makes me mad." They would say to me, "Only animals get mad. You could be angry." That's what they would say to me.
Interesting. I know from first-hand experience that humans get mad also sometimes, but
okay. So Rabbi Nachman says if someone has they're overcome by addiction for food, he compares them to like an animal. So we can easily go in animal mode by becoming mad and bugging out and snapping like a raging bull.
Yeah.
That means I'm not using my logic to say, hey, you know what? Whatever's bugging me out's happening anyway.
Got bit by a flea.
We got a live bite on camera.
Yeah, live bite on camera.
Listen, in the Gemara they used to do like bloodletting. So anytime I get bitten, I'm like, little bloodletting.
Dude, that's why I slit my wrist.
That's why it's to be healthy.
The next sugya, I guess, for SuperChill the podcast that I want to talk about was we saw two klalim in the Geula. We saw first of all that the Geula happens at night. It says Geula mi ba'erev. The Yetzias Mitzrayim that was during the day. That was Alos HaShachar. But Geula that was mi'orta. That was at night. And Geula is coming at night. You know, Tov lehodot Hashem ve'emunascha ba'leilot.
I remember hearing somewhere in Tanakh it also compares it to like the sunrise, where it creeps in. The Geula creeps in little by little, just like the sunrise creeps in little by little.
Nice.
So we have to be.
So it happens at night. That night, and sometimes at night you can't always see during the day you can see where the sun is. At night you can't really see where the Geula is. We're really so close.
It's like with Tu B'Shvat, right? Like we say, why are we celebrating the holiday of the trees in the middle of the winter? You know.
Yeah.
Because in the middle of the winter is when the juices start to flow up. You don't see it, but it's actually starting to flow up. So then, the tuelis of the juices flowing up is the fruit. But the whole process is at night. It's hidden.
Yeah. And, the whole process of Geula is at night. The emunah schavalos, we have to have emunah that... Listen, the emunah that we have to have is that, we're doing what we can. We steig in here. You know, everyone's listen, I gotta have emunah that, I'm just gonna, just keep on chilling. That person's got to have a emunah that it's in the long run. You know, they also talk about geula arichta, a geula, a long geula. You say, wait a second, isn't hashkivenu a hefsek? They say, no, it's a geula arichta. It's a long geula. Sometimes it's going to be a hashkivenu, and you're like, I don't understand. What's going on here? How is this part of geula? You're going to say, this is geula arichta moment. Right? You got to pass get a geula arichta. We steig in here. Geula arichta. We're going for the gold.
Oh man, you don't want to. It reminds me of a joke once. A rabbi once told me. said one of these guys said to the Hasidim, he says, you guys are marrying your kids too young. They're 18. You're marrying them too young. What are you guys doing? He says, you know what happens if you have a long Shemona Esrei? He says, what? You miss Kedusha. So it's like, they gotta get married at 18. Sorry, my friend. But I don't know how that reminds me of it, but when in Rome, so it brought me there.
It came in the Asali Adenu name of a Milsa. The flies, the Gates Hara is talked about flies, Baal-Zabub. They just keep on coming, but we stagging here. We are growing from the flies, we're growing from everything that's,
100%.
100%, yeah.
I mean, the reason that there's flies right now is because we're not living in symbiotic relationship with the land. What does that mean? When we first got this farm over here, it was bad. I mean, we had a lot of cockroaches running around and all types of horrible things. We got a few ducks and chickens. Next thing you know, within a day or two, you didn't see a cockroach. These ducks and chickens walking around pecking everything on the floor looking.
Whoa.
You see a little cockroach moving, the chickens can eat it up in a second. I see these ducks jump out of the air and snatch flies.
Love
so
ducks.
Our ratio of animals to soil quality to the right type of herbs that we're growing that are repellents for certain things, we've lost how to live out here in harmony with the way nature was intended to benefit us to have a better chill in the land. So part of what we're doing is we're here with some flies. We're also we're going to have to compile a team of the greatest experts in the world to help figure out how to have a land without poisonous chemicals being sprayed and have zero flies with using, your animal plant soil ratio in the right way. And God help us, we should get there.
We're stagging here.
Oh, in that regards, we are. We're flying there.
Till next time, piggity peace.
Chazak, chazak.
Chazak, chazak.
Stupid heaves wondering